Liong Ma is a man consumed, engrossed, and obsessed with knives. Not just as tools and not just as decorative pieces of jewelry, the man simply loves knives. Ask anyone who's been around the knife world long enough to reach Mr. Ma's general price range and you'll almost exclusively hear great things. And I think that comes from the fact that in order to be a great designer, especially in this space, you have to know exactly what you personally want or expect out of a knife.
What do you want?
Without that personal internal checklist, without those bullet points of details you need to see to justify spending your own money, how can you ever sit down, draw up a knife, and expect anyone else to spend their money on it? And I think that's where Liong Ma, it just hits the nail on the head. Now let's just get this next bit out of the way. Like all great artists, designers, or thespians, Liong's life thus far is not devoid of drama by any means. Recently, well, very recently, there's been a big, explosive public eruption of drama involving Mr. Ma, but I'm here to tell you, if nothing else, that just makes the man's work all that more interesting to me personally. If Van Gogh hadn't lost his mind and chopped his ear off, would his work sell for $10 to $25 million? If Heath Ledger had survived the filming of The Dark Knight, would he have ever won the Oscar? Or if Bruce Lee or Elvis Presley were alive today, do you think their work would be as special or universally loved as it is today? The point is, without a great tragedy, without great drama, or some kind of public reckoning, artists have no room to grow, no reason to develop their skills, no excuse to improve, and nothing to overcome. And well, I guess all that brings us to this. The Liong Ma Field Duty EDC, a reasonably sized, exceptionally functional, and endlessly utilitarian titanium and G10 frame lock that has really flipped my way of thinking when it comes to knives, especially knives in this price range. Designed by our man Ma, and manufactured by what has become my go-to OEM lately, Reate, this oversimplified, clean, and yet beautiful EDC-focused folder has given me everything I need without overwhelming me, without overdoing anything, and without seeming over-designed or overdone. I've said it before and I'll say it again, simple is beautiful, and in this case it's easy to see what I'm on about. On the lock bar side, clean, simple, stone-washed, simple titanium pocket clip with the ceramic ball. It carries nice and deep and extremely secure, and even though it's a bit tight in and out of the pocket for my taste, I've really got no gripes. And on the show side, simple, clean, black, machine G10. Now I suppose the big design talking point on this piece is the monoblock G10 construction, wherein we have a normal titanium scale for the lock bar side, and everything else, the backspacer, the show side scale, etc., is all machined out of one thick piece of G10. And again, going back to simplicity, what better way to keep things simple than to literally only need two pieces of material to construct such a solid and rugged feeling knife? We've got nicely done jimping all around, and that LMAX blade, again, is clean, simple, swooping sliciness. Nothing out of the box, nothing out of this world, just a good and slicey and nice looking blade. Simple, again, simple is beautiful. And that really sums up the aesthetics here. It's clean, elegant, kind of rugged and intense looking without being scary. Now moving on to the ergos here are just wonderful. Everything is so well finished, so well knocked down, so well thought out that it's simply magnificent in hand. It's not too big and yet gives you more than enough room to get comfortable. We've got a really big, wildly large and kind of strangely shaped, exceptionally comfortable finger choil so we can choke up to that blade, get nice and snuggled up, and all of the little jimped areas all add up to one unquestionably secure grip. Any grip, any position, I've got no complaints as far as the ergos go, and I would say that that's where this knife really shines. But this, honestly, this piece really shines in so many ways. So many ways, like, well, the action. The action here can be described simply in one word: snappy. I know it's overused when it comes to YouTube knife reviews, but we've got these perfectly shaped deployment holes that are foolishly easy to get a hold of and well finished, nicely knocked down inner edges. Reverse flicks and thumb flicks are just completely mindless to pull off, and to me that sums up great design. Something that's well designed is something you hold in your hand and immediately know what to do with it. There's no learning curve, no second guessing, no reason to read the manual. You pick it up and everything works. Well, this beauty sums that up perfectly. It's running on bearings and they're good and smooth on the open and the close. The tolerances are so tight, lockup is unquestionably secure, no wiggle, no play. The lock bar is easy to get a hold of and push aside for the close, and that sensually slicey piece of LMAX just needs the tiniest bit of help to swing shut. Overall, the action has been wonderfully satisfying, and I've not done anything to this piece since I took it out of the box. No lube, no, no KPL, nothing like that. Just took it out of the box and started playing with it, and everything worked. And finally, that blade. A good knife needs to cut, and holy sweet baby Jesus, does this thing cut. Any angle, any material, any way, any day, this thing cuts. I've not once pulled this piece out of my pocket and been let down. That semi-satin stonewash piece of Elmax is made out of the decently hefty blade stock, but it is a full, flat grind, and that's a pretty tall blade, so that perfect grind brings it all the way down to an exceptionally thin final cutting edge. The geometry, the blade shape, the edge, the grind work, it all just works together so flawlessly. And I've been carrying this thing 3 to 4 days a week since it arrived, simply because it cuts, and it cuts without a care in the world, or a care for the task that lies in front of it. A workhorse of a blade, to say the very least. So, where does that all leave me? With the Liong designed field duty EDC made by Reate, the blade is made to cut under any circumstance imaginable. The simple, elegant lines and looks tickle the knife nut in my head without scaring away my family and friends, and the action has been nothing short of satisfying to me. After hours and hours and hours of flipping and fidgeting, you know how I operate. The only holdup you may have as far as picking this one up for yourself might be the price tag. Let's be fair and let's be honest and just call it a $300 knife. But when I said this flipped my thinking on knives in this price range, I used to need to see a lot of craziness in this price range to be able to justify it. And I don't know what it was that called to me with this particular one. It was different, it was a new designer, and it was made by Reate. And for me, I guess that was enough, and I'm so glad I did. The quality, materials, the overall fit and finish, and the undeniable vibe of reliability and the feel of craftsmanship in the hand and in use, it all adds up to value for money to me. I bought this with my own money for full retail price, and I have to say, I'd do it again tomorrow. That's how much I've fallen for this thing. I just feel like it was made to work, and it's built like a tank without sacrificing the joy and the beauty of good design work and good aesthetics. And to me, that's a rare find these days. When so much of the knife world just keeps pumping out the same old thing, or keeps trying to one-up each other. A little bit of simplicity and a little bit of elegance goes a long way. So I hope that helps. If it doesn't, well, I hope you at least enjoyed yourself. And until next time, thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.